So you are here because you want to meet the minds behind this super cool product called YUGO that is helping all of us living in Barcelona to move in a more efficient way, in a green way, because it's electrical. So we have today the head of product and co-founder of YUGO. He's a French entrepreneur, has 5 years experience in entrepreneurship, also in incubators and early stage startups. So I have the pleasure to have Yann with us tonight. Yann Sander. Okay, let's have a seat, because this is like a proper talk show, you know? I always wanted to run a talk show, so. Oh, we are missing the mugs. We have mugs. All right, so guys, I'm gonna make a few questions to Yann here. He's gonna tell us his story, personal story, also the story of YUGO. And we're gonna open for you to also ask whatever you want about YUGO, about Yann, about the rest of the co-founders that are here. And then it's super cool because later we're gonna have the chance to test one of the YUGOs if you're not a user yet. And also some pizza and beers, okay? So we hope you have fun. Yann, thank you. Actually, this is not the first time we have YUGO with us. YUGO was also in one of the Wagon talks 1 year ago. And at the time, Le Wagon was starting, YUGO was also starting, and that's so amazing to see now. This room is full. You guys are all around in the city, so congratulations. And I would like to start asking, actually, who are you? Who is the guy that is helping to disrupt the mobility in Barcelona? Tell us a bit about your story, because I know a bit about his story. And the journey has all the ingredients of every successful entrepreneur. Fails, success, so tell us a bit, how did you start? You start in France back in time, what did you study and how you got here?
Cool, thanks first, thank you a lot for inviting me and the whole team of YUGO. So we are basically all here, my brother, Tim, Luc, Barbara, Ben, Thomas, so it's always a pleasure to be talking about our history and journey in Barcelona. So I'm Yann, I'm French, 30 years old, just turned 30 years old a week ago. And I studied business, like Ben and Tim, Luc as well. Back in France, sorry, in Grenoble. So I'm a master of business administration. So studying everything and nothing. So strategy, business, marketing.
I know that well.
All those topics to be a good manager at the end. So I graduated with Ben and Tim at that time. It was 6 years ago, and then I started as a consultant in Paris, La Défense, a great place to to be wearing suits and boring life. But at that time, I didn't know what I actually wanted to do. I learned a lot, studied a lot. All the people in the class were, oh, I'm going to do marketing, I'm going to do consulting and everything. So I kind of followed the path and learned the way. I basically started in an energy company in France, so helping them in building business model for a smart meter. So it was a smart meter at home that was giving you real-time information about your consumptions and everything. So we were supposed to helping the company to build a strategy and what should we do with this huge investments, how can we make money and these kind of things. But you know how big companies are, so a lot of processes, and I spent my time doing slides, explaining what to do, but I didn't have any clue of what to do, right? So I was 25 years old. How do you explain this to a company that is here for many years? So I was really bored, actually, and I stayed there 6 months, right? So 6 months, my first experience as a graduate, and I was like full of questions, like why did I study this? What do I do? Where should I go? And these kind of things. And I'm a bit of a dreamer, so I'm always passionate by topics that I want to do something good in the world, creating something, a product that is used by many people because it has value. So at that time, I quitted my job, and I had an idea that I wanted just to do. I had no clue about building a product or, you know, wireframing or just sketching ideas or how to code a website, these kind of things, because you don't learn that at school, right? So nobody teaches you, and that's why you are here, right? The boot camps to help people just to learn that way. So I basically said, okay, I have an idea, what should I do? I jumped into it, and I decided to dedicate kind of full time in building this. So the product that we built was a platform for dreamers and people that wanted to realize their dreams and adventures, right? So it was like...
So you're connecting
Yeah.
people who were sharing the same, let's say, going life, or they wanted to do something great together?
Exactly. The goal was to create this social platform to help people connect, not because they are friends, but because they want to achieve something great, right? So like climbing Kilimanjaro or backpacking in South America. So all the dreams or things that you have in life and you never do it because usually you have no time or no money, or you always find excuses, right? So not to do it. And basically what we wanted is just write down what you want to do, and we connect you with the people that did it or want to do it, right? And in a platform where you can connect, you can share, you can talk about it and everything. So that was the idea, building a community. We spent, I think, more than 6 months in building the first version with my brother as well, that is here as a co-founder. So 6 months building a first version is killing a company, killing a team, everything, because you just pack a lot of features and you never test, you never go out. So we failed, right? So we failed because we had, from the beginning, the idea was big, but we didn't break it into small steps to try to move further and validate assumptions and get to the next step. But still, we kept on doing it, right? So 6 months, we launched the first version. We had like, I don't know, 500 signups. People were creating their dream, but then stopped, right? Never coming back. Then my dream was like, okay, shit, well, what did we do wrong? But we never went out and talked to the people, and we said, okay, let's do a second version, right? So because maybe people don't understand how to connect or how to create or share challenges. So we redesigned with the few skills I had at that time, right? So I didn't know about Photoshop or sketching, anything, but I learned the way. We did a second version. We launched it again, had like a peak of connection, and then that's it, right? So it lasted about 16 months in total, bootstrapping. We did a lot of tests, like application in incubators, in Europe, like in Amsterdam, in Paris as well. But it never worked out because first, it's a product that is difficult to sell because you need to find a business model, how to grow, how to make money. And secondly, it's really difficult to build community-based products, especially in Europe, I think. So it failed the whole way, right?
But when you guys looking for incubators and accelerators, Did you get feedback from, you know, more experienced people involved? What did they tell you? What were, now analyzing it, what were the main mistakes you believe you guys did?
Never validating any assumptions, right? So we were always saying, oh, we built something, that's what it is, we want to do this, that's the team, but never going out, right? So because of the first step of that platform, you can just create meetups or groups and try to group people together because they have the same idea or the same dreams, right? And from there, I learn, right? And then maybe create, I don't know, a shared folder where you put pictures of everything, and the shared folder has a name, which is Kilimanjaro or these kind of things. So why building a platform, right? So
of course, yeah.
The need was not validated. But still, in your mind, when you're an entrepreneur, you are like, oh, I have an idea, I want to do it, and you just kind of close your...
Yes, you get obsessed by that, you fall in love with the idea and not with the problem you want to solve.
And then you talk to your friends, and your friends are, oh, it's a cool idea, you know, it's awesome, keep on doing it, and they all have a job, you know, they don't understand what you do.
And then you do some marketing research to ask people, would you use it? And people say, yeah, of course, but if you ask them, how much would you pay for it? And then it's another story, right?
Exactly. So basically, this first experience gave me a first glimpse into entrepreneurship. What it is actually to be entrepreneur nowadays, right? And it all went down, right? Like the big failure. At the end, after the 16 months, I moved to Berlin because I wanted to see something else. However, I knew that I wanted to keep on doing it. I didn't want to come back to corporate job, wearing suits, these kind of things, because I'm not this person, right? I'm someone that likes to create. So with those learnings, I went to Berlin to start a boot camp, which is a European incubator. I joined a startup, early stage startup there, and helped them in growing from their product. So it was 4 months kind of consulting, and it gave me a good insights into what is going on in Europe. We had startups from Croatia, from Slovenia, from UK, from the US. So just like being open and see what are other people doing, right? And not being closed by the French ecosystem and the French people. So I had a really great experience, and then I moved to Munich into a corporate incubator because I joined Allianz, which is an insurance company. Insurance companies nowadays have a big issue, is they are being disrupted by new startups. So
what the insurtech movement.
Exactly, the whole insurtech movement, and Allianz was like trying to fix that and say, oh, we are going to die soon. We need to build a team that will try to see where can we go. So they built up a team of, at that time, we were 7 people from different backgrounds, so e-commerce, other things. And the goal was to create new startups. They let us the whole freedom to do it. Maybe, okay, let's bring in startups or build your own teams, right? So it lasted 2 years, and again, for me it was good because I could see what it is to be in a big company trying to build small teams that will try to build products, right? But still, as I told you, like Allianz is a big company, they have processes, so even though they created a small team, at the end, the big team or the big company was always making decisions.
So do you think the company culture in that case played a strong role? And even if with all the resources, it was hard to move faster as the way you were expected to, right?
Yeah, exactly. I take an example. We had like every week scoping of ideas, so we could just throw ideas and have a little business plan or little business model, how it would work. What's the investment needed? If I had like presented YUGO there, right? YUGO is can be a really interesting topic for insurance companies, right? So because they are looking into mobility, how can we do it? They do a lot of research, but they are lacking the execution. Just the fact that, okay, we have an idea, let's just build a team and try to do something, right? If I had presented Yugo or a project similar to this, they would say, too risky, not do that, even though the investment is really little for them. Value might be big for insurances. No. So even though we were a little team, building stuff, having ideas, we were always confronted with the big shark or big, company and saying it's too risky. So I got kind of also fed up and a bit bored about that. And actually, that's the whole story of Yugo, how it started. Because Ben and Tim, we were all studying together in Grenoble, so we knew each other from our business class. And we all joined there, right? So Tim and Ben were working at BMW and Audi.
They were in Munich as well.
In Munich,
yeah.
exactly. And we actually started just to be doing afterward side projects, because they were also a bit bored about their company.
They were also
not bored by by mobility or the product, right? But bored by the fact that they can have ideas and they want to do stuff, but they're always kind of confronted by, oh no, let's not do that, or the big structure.
Yeah.
You know?
But you were very motivated, because I guess after working hard the whole day and then still having the discipline to meet and discuss ideas, how was that process? Did you guys organize in your agenda and said, like, guys, on Wednesday you have to see each other and discuss? Did you have any ways of organizing this communication? Or it was very spontaneous, more in a brainstorm mode? And
was more in a brainstorm mode, right? So we had a bit of organization. We said, if we want to move forward, we need to see every week. But we had no expectation, right? So I think it's key also in being an entrepreneur is not having any expectation of the outcome of what you want to build. Just have an idea and try to do stuff, right? And that was the whole goal of trying to work together. And we built, so the first idea that we had was a platform for second-hand cars. And we called it Helmut, really German. Because the idea was just to create kind of a persona and say, we are Helmut, and we sell you cars from Germany at a better price than what you can get in France. And which is true, right? So you can have like nice Mercedes or BMW, and so that was the goal, right? So, but because Ben and Tim and Luc as well was living there in Munich, they love cars. And we said, let's do that, because it could be fun, and let's have fun, right? And let's learn the way. So we just had this idea, and just to come back with my previous experience, we didn't thought about like building a first platform, and taking 6 months to build a product. We said, let's create a Facebook group. We call it Helmut, and Helmut is a dénicheur des bonnes occasions in French, which is like a good a guy which lives in the automobile industry, and we can find you the best car. So we posted like 2 or 3 pictures every day of awesome cars, and kind of build a first community of people. And we just throw a bit of money on Facebook ads, and we grew to 5,000 people.
That's actually really smart, because you didn't develop anything. You just use the tools you had at your hands, things that everybody was using, to actually, it's an idea validation process, right? Did it surprise you that you start to get more and more people on this community, or did you guys get, oh man, it's working?
Well, it didn't really surprise us, because what's important is also to create something different and in a way that people stick to your idea, or they understand. Helmut for us was just, a name everybody can recognize, a nice brand, and a catching phrase, which is, we find you the best car. People stick to that idea. It's a need, right? People need to find, they want, especially those kind of people that are looking for the good car, a beautiful car, it sticks to their mind, right? So it was not really a surprise for us. Well, 5,000, yes, but...
But the interesting thing is that we once had a student at Le Wagon that, as a final project, also decided to create a platform for second-hand cars. And I actually asked him why you want to do something, you know, like, is there really a need or a problem there? And he said, have you tried to buy or sell a car lately? Have you seen how, you know, shit they look?
Yeah.
How did you guys actually identify the problem? You know, because it's true that most of the websites out there for second-hand cars are not okay. Plus the offer, usually like you have to spend hours and hours to find something interesting. How was the process for actually identifying this problem?
It's just a personal story of basically Tim and Ben, because they were cars addict, of looking into Le Bon Coin, eBay, or these kind of platforms where they don't talk about cars, they just talk about every product, but cars is such an amazing product for many people that it deserves kind of a place where you talk about it and where you can find good information and this kind of thing. So the need was personal in this case. And we saw that there are other people that have the same need, right, to find...
That's interesting because when you talk to many entrepreneurs, it's a common thing that many of them say, I started creating this for me because I was passionate about it, and I validated that there were more people like me, right? So you connect your own passion to the story, right?
Yeah, I think it's key because as an entrepreneur, you don't do research to find an idea and find a potential need that actually you are not passionate about, because it doesn't make sense. Entrepreneur is so difficult to build a company or build a product that if you don't feel like what you're doing has value for yourself but also for other people, I think it doesn't make sense. You shouldn't be an entrepreneur or try to find another idea.
So how was the rest of the Helmut's life?
Well,
did grow up? Did he got married? Got kids?
Well, I don't know.
Or died?
It's still there, actually. So the group is still there. We are not active at all. But actually, 2 years ago, in July 2015, we were still working on that Helmut, and we were trying to meet car. Not manufacturer, but seller, right? And in Munich, you have a lot of BMW, Mercedes, all those cars, Audi as well. So we met with Tim, actually, we met one of the biggest in Munich, just to try to sell them, hey guys, we have a platform, it's super cool, a lot of people are interested, they are looking for cars, you have people that want to sell, you are not good in digital, right? We can help. And selling it as a way we generate leads for you, and you're happy, you get customers, we are happy, we get money. The guy at that time, so one of the biggest in Munich, said, guys, your idea is cool, I like it. However, I don't know if I'm going to be still selling cars in the future, right? Because ownership or selling might die one day, and the guy just told us that. And we kind of realized that Helmut was a nice product, we liked it, we had some fun, we learned the way, but it's not maybe a product that is going to stay for a long time, right? So maybe it's fixing just a problem right now, but not for many years. So we kind of like said, okay, maybe it's not the direction that we want to do, or we want to go. And yeah, we thought like other ways. So that's basically kind of the
to shift
our minds. And
but the first impact was, how did you guys get this? Because it's funny that someone from such a traditional industry gave you such an insight, right? That people are talking about it now, and everybody's seeing new ways of mobility. And this guy, maybe in a tie, in a suit, this is the way I picture him, saying this thing to you guys, and it was a very valuable advice, I guess, right?
For us, I think for us it was more kind of a confirmation that that what we consume every day, because we consume in Munich, we consume shared mobility a lot, right? So Drive Now, Car2Go, they were born in Munich because it's the headquarters of BMW and Sixt as well. So, and as Tim was living there and working in BMW, he was also experiencing it a lot, right? So we found it as a way, the best way to move in the city. And the guy just confirmed that, right? That the idea that maybe people will not buy cars just to move in the city. It doesn't make sense.
I saw once in Berlin this Drive Now car. There was stickers on it. Can you explain a bit like what exactly is this service about?
So Drive Now is a joint venture of Sixt, which are renting cars, and BMW, which are manufacturing cars. And they started 5 years ago, and as a way to kind of do test ride of their new cars with the people living in the city. So basically at the beginning it was more like a marketing tool to help you experience new BMW or new Mini. And the way it works is that you have an app and you can just localize BMW nearby and just book it, go there, and you have a card as a member and you just unlock the car from outside and just press the button to start. Just go around and park your car and finish your ride. Right? So it's the free floating model where you can drive amazing cars, basically.
And then you went home with Tim and Ben with this new insight, and what was the next step? You were still working, right? All of you were. You didn't abandon the first.
No. We had that idea already to leave it. At that time was for Helmut, right? But we still had like a job, right? So you don't leave a job just for an idea, you know. I think the way I learned it is you don't do that.
You learned the hard way. You're the first project, right? Exactly. You put all your efforts and energy.
I learned that, and you shouldn't do it because it makes sense to work with your teammates first and understand how they work. Is there a good symbiosis together? And so we went back from that meeting and we said it was really hot outside, and we knew about a scooter manufacturer that was doing electric scooter in Germany, and they are called UNO. And we knew that they had like ambassadors in different cities, and you can just do a test ride with them, right? So you go on their website and you say, I would like to test the moto next Thursday, and you do that. We went there, and it was a cool scooter with a battery also swappable, right? So you can just take it and go at home and charge it. And we just loved the experience. The big smile on the face, because well, riding electric is you don't have any noise and you can park anywhere. You have amazing scooter. It's a nice looking scooter. The lifestyle is amazing. It's cool, right? So we went back from that test ride and we said, we love mobility, we love the sharing system, and we just discovered that electric scooter is probably the best way to move in the city. So let's try to combine them. And that's basically how it all started, right? So just decided.
It's interesting because it was kind of a series of random things that were happening in a row, and in a moment of epiphany, the idea of YUGO came out, right? And it's also true that in most ideas that succeed, these elements of, completely random stuff that happens, like maybe the universe telling you something happens and you guys were able to identify and grab it, right? Yeah. So then you sit down, discuss how did you make your first, let's say, plan to work on that?
So it was in July 2015, and from the experience we had, so on Helmut, from my previous experiences. We knew that that project could be really tough to execute, right? Because it's not just an app, right? You need to buy a scooter, you need to connect it, you need to create an app, you need to communicate, you need to find the perfect spot to start, how to start. So execution is really tricky in that part. And we had no clue about IoT, hardware, electric scooters, how does it work? No clue, right? So how do you do that? How do you execute on an idea when you don't know anything? It's a tricky challenge. Well, we actually just said let's fake it, basically. Let's fake the fact that we have a service. People can pre-register, and let's go from there. No expectation of whatsoever.
So you took one lesson, or maybe one of the biggest lessons you had on the first experiences, which was like, let's validate the idea first and see if there are people out there that would use it. And with a minimum effort, you created kind of a landing page or something like this.
Exactly. We first gathered information about who are the manufacturers of electric scooters. Does this kind of service exist in the world? And we knew that in Berlin there was one, in San Francisco as well, but that was it, right? And we said, okay, what are the criteria to decide where to launch such a service? The criteria are really simple. You need to have a good weather to be able to make your fleet
maximize the number of trips, right?
Trips, so you cannot be in Scandinavia because I think it's difficult. I don't know, right? I don't know. But to maximize your idea, you need to find the perfect spot. Sorry. Then we found the first scooter, which was Unu at that time. We discussed with them and said, nah, we are interested in your scooter. What do you think? That's what we want to build. And it didn't work out. So we found our second option, which was this one that you see right below, behind me. Because that was important for us, is to have a lifestyle or a retro, right? You don't want to ride a scooter that has no cuteness or no
wow effect.
No wow effect, right? You don't want to have a standard scooter. You want to have something special. So we decided on that. Make the first.
But when you launched the landing page and you got the first people getting to it, did you get a very clear sign that there were demand for the service? Tell us a bit, like from the moment you put it online, the moment you decide, guys, I think this is the moment for us to quit the job and jump on it.
We launched the landing page in September 2015, so a month and a half after we had the idea. Landing page was simple, was amazing, cool design, where you put your email and you just say register, and when you register, we ask you 2-3 questions, and then you went to a waiting list. But people didn't even expect that there was no service because they saw the landing page and everything. We marketed on Facebook groups, the French community in Barcelona, and it worked really, really well. A lot of people signing up. We met, so Ben and Tim moved to Barcelona in September, so that was already in their mind to move from Munich. And we started to meet those people that were registering.
I think the other smart move you guys did is like to actually make a very informed decision about where your potential target would be, right? And then you decided for Barcelona because I guess because we, like in Barcelona, we have the biggest scooter fleets in Europe or in the world per capita, something like this, right?
It's the
Apart
second.
From the weather, it's the second.
The second after Rome is the second city in terms of density of scooters.
Cool. Then you launched this landing page in Barcelona, still being in Munich.
Yeah,
right?
I was still living in Munich for 4 months in my job. Ben and Tim were already here to kind of trying to connect with the ecosystem. Who are the actors, meeting the people that registered. So really lean approach. right? So that was the word, lean approach. We don't have the capital to throw 150 scooters.
Was 100% self-funded, right? You guys started with your own money.
Yeah.
And I remember once we had the chance to talk about this story, and this is funny because I met someone here in Barcelona, and I remember the first time I heard about YUGO, we were having a meeting, and after the meeting we left the same building, and I said, "Are you going to the metro?" She said, "No, I'm gonna order my scooter." And I said, "What?" She said, "Yeah, I'm gonna text a guy on WhatsApp, and he will bring me a scooter." I was like, "Uh-huh." Is he in love with you or something like this? No, it's a service. And then when you had the chance to talk about it again, I thought it was so smart the way, because you didn't have so many scooters around to serve the demand, so you were literally taking the scooter to where people were, right? It was an amazing strategy in the beginning.
Exactly. We launched in February last year with 3 scooters compared to the 300 from Ecultra or other companies. 3 scooters because we didn't have the cash or thing, the money just to invest in it, and we didn't validate the whole system. What would people expect from that kind of services? And we launched the first version of the app. We had a WhatsApp group with every single user. So remember, we had up to 600 groups. With you, Gustavo, we have a group, and so with the early adopters, we had this because we had no other choice. We had to create that kind of closeness with the people because we need feedback. And we had only 3 scooters, so we were bringing scooters to people. So we spent 3 months just on the road, 3 scooters for the service and 1 scooter for us, packed with batteries, and we just turn around and get a scooter, bring in there to Gustavo, they get to another person.
They would like, you're going to the 2 of you in 1 scooter, one driving and the other like texting with the client.
Yeah, on Saturday night it was really tough because a lot of people were asking, because on the app at that time you could request a scooter, and we get a notification and we say, hey, in 15 minutes you have a scooter at your location. And actually people were asking for that, right? Who would have thought, like, waiting for someone to bring you a scooter, and when you have another service in place, you have Ecultra, they had 300 scooters. Why? So again, this was kind of validation that what we built brings value to people, and we ramped up. So we added more scooters at that time.
And also, when I saw the service the first time, because it's mobile service, when I got to the website, I was naturally expecting a mobile app, a native app that I had to install on the App Store, and I was quietly, in a positive way, surprised that it was a website. I could see a map and order right away. The process of registration and getting the scooter was so quick, right? Tell us a bit about this decision, like, because usually when people think about creating something for mobile, the first thing is like, oh, I need an app for Android, I need an app for iOS, I need iOS developers, and then you guys had like a web app that was working on every mobile phone, right? It was quite a smart decision as well, right?
Yeah, it was a smart decision. Again, we didn't have that much choices because we didn't have the skills in the team to be building native apps. And after researching, we said, actually, a web app can work, right? We know how to make it work. People just want to have a map, want to have icons, and be able to book and start and stop a scooter. That's it. So, yeah, the decision was made, and we needed to launch. So, and actually, right now, it's still a web app, right? So, but it works. It works. So, yeah.
And in terms of differentiation, because of course you had other competitors, as you mentioned, I think you told us one thing already, which was the fact that you didn't want it to be just a commodity, you know, service where you jump into a scooter that is just a normal vehicle. You wanted to have this smile on the face of people. You wanted to have the wow effect. and you went for this super cute, you know, the green color, the vintage style. You had in your mind a very clear target, right? To actually design a product like this and to find this angle. Can you tell us a bit about who is your target? Of course, I more or less can guess because I am part of this. But tell a bit everybody who's in the audience and maybe potential customers and also the ones you have. Like, what's your crowd? Who are they?
It's basically people that are living in the city and want to, especially in Barcelona, just to be outside and not being stuck in public transportation. People that need flexibility, so getting to a point from A to B really quick, the best way. People that are expecting a service that is fast. You don't want to waste time in waiting, all these kind of things. So the app was also built for that. The service was built for that. Is when you connect, you do everything from the app. So you don't have keys, you don't have anything, you just do everything from the app. Also, you have customer support, which is not a phone that you call, it's an in-app chat, and we respond under 2 minutes, because that's what we, as a urban citizens, we expect from a service, right? You expect that when you have a trouble, when you have questions, that people answer your questions really quick.
Especially because people would be on the go.
Exactly.
You know, they cannot afford like to stay 5 minutes on the phone or.
For a service like ours, it's really important to be there and to be helping, because it's not just an app. It's you have a physical product that we are kind of transporting people around in the city, and they are on the go. They have expectation because they have a meeting, they have something, right? So you need to be there always. So that's basically why it's like this now at YUGO, and because first we are the first customers ourselves. We had this problem and we wanted to do something about it, and we see that we realize that there are other people like us in the city.
And it's interesting because in the Wagon we also discuss a lot about value proposition, and not only this, because like not all ideas are the most original ones. So once you build something, there might be another service doing it at the same time, but you have to find your unique angle, the way you're going to be different, the way you're going to, your unique selling point, to use a more technical term. So when I think about the fact that you design a service that was also bringing a smile to the face of people, I like to make the metaphor between Uber and Lyft, because Uber positions themselves as a very professional and efficient, and it's get there, and Lyft, which is the competitor in the US, they focus on happy people, happy drivers, you know. And if you go to the website, it's even, you notice on the colors, you notice on the visual identity, on the brand,
on the tone as well.
Exactly. So they do exactly the same, but they have a different positioning. And this is a brilliant that you also found that on a market that is potentially going to get more and more competitive, but you're already finding a very, you know, strong identity in this market.
I think this is really correct, to find a identity and a unique value proposition. But the second thing also for us, what was important, our business is really capex intensive, so you need to buy scooters, right? When you're small like us, no history, it's really difficult to finance this and grow. So what really matters is also your to be capital efficient, so making revenues from day one and not expecting to do in 1 year or 2 years and just raising money to build a product. I think you need to find an idea or a business or product that can generate revenues from day one, because this will help you in growing a sustainable business.
It makes me think about a saying that I love, that says that the best investor, it will be your customers, right? Like many companies sometimes they get so crazy about, you know, going to the VCs, going to business angels without actually having a product, and having an audience, like generating some traction, where sometimes they should focus more, I don't know if you agree with me, on actually building a product that people want, right?
It's yeah, I 100% agree with this, because I think there's a bit of on entrepreneurship in general. We heard a lot about raising money, 10 millions, you know, a lot of big rounds, right? But we don't see the fact that it takes time to build a business that is sustainable, that makes revenues, and I think this is super important. Yeah.
And I also know, because we talked about it before, that you guys own your own technology, that you are not outsourcing your GPS system, you have all the hardware also done in-house. Was it a strategic decision for you, like to actually own the whole technology? And if the answer is yes, why did you think that this was key for the success of also for the success of the product?
I think one of the reasons is that it's the business where we are in the mobility, transporting people, hundreds of people or thousands of people in a city. You need to own your product. You need to be able to be flexible in building new value, building new features, especially in our case where we have hardware, so IoT, but also software, right? In most cases, in our competition, they don't own 100% of their own tech. For us, it's super important for operations because
reliability, no, also because one scooter that stopped is also, you know, a service that you're not generating the incomes you need.
Yeah, exactly, and also we gather a lot of data as well, geographic data about where our trips are made. So if you don't have these insights, if you cannot build this data infrastructure, you cannot learn, and it doesn't help you in optimizing your operations. So from the beginning, basically, we said we know we need that. We know we need that to be able to create the value we want to create in the sector, in the industry. So it's not easy to make as a decision because it's a lot of work. However, there's no like other decision, I think.
Because you basically define your own roadmap when it comes to launching new features without depending from third parties.
Exactly,
right?
and in most cases, it started with the car sharing model, and now it's a big boom in the motorcycle sharing. But motor sharing is different than car sharing, so you cannot apply the same thing.
It's another animal.
It's another animal. It's another way of operating. We have scooters around the city, packed with batteries that need to be swapped, changed. How do you swap? How do you optimize routes? So a lot of challenges that you cannot solve if you are dependent on a third-party provider. I think that's what we did.
We're gonna see the app in a few minutes, but you mentioned also that you gather lots of data, and I guess these data are also very interesting in the sense that you can see like the hotspots where the scooter is more demanded in the city, you know, like the rush hour. What are your main metrics that you use to, one, optimize the service, and then second, maximize as well your incomes and the availability actually of scooters to your customers?
So the big challenge is the availability of scooters, and this is it relies on the number first of scooters, but the second is also how your effort to swap batteries. So not having scooters that are lying there for 3 hours because they have a battery that is dead, basically. And the third effort is in terms of maintenance. It's trying to get your scooters fixed as soon as possible to get them back on the road. So there you can optimize a lot. We have, for instance, in our system, we have the battery level of every scooters in real time, and we are able to just optimize the routes of our swappers, so people that are going with a car and swapping batteries. So there are a lot of things that we are right now building in the sense that it will help the service to always be available.
And what are your main metrics? The ones that you track, like let's say the top 3 that for you is key, that you define as a goal to improve, or?
For us, it's basically number of trips per day per scooter, but also number of minutes that are ridden, and not like number of minutes that are not unused. Also the number of the percentage of maintenance that we have, number of batteries or scooters without batteries, so with the dead battery. All the metrics that help us in maintaining high availability of scooters.
Very cool. Are you guys curious to see the app working? Yeah. So let's do
we
a
have
demo.
a little demo, because I saw some of YUGO riders in the audience. We are working on a new app that will be released in the next days. And actually, I just wanted to show you how it works. It works. So I don't know if right here you have a scooter, and basically just connect, and you see the available scooters in real time. And sorry, just a bag. There are a few bags, so it's not ready yet.
The nice thing about it is also that you not only show the scooter around, but the closest one, right? And say, go to this one.
Yeah, we auto-select the closest for you, but you can still book any other scooter around. And in this app, for instance, right now the current process is that you book, you unlock, you start, you stop, you finalize. So it's a lot of steps. And we made it way easier, right? So right now you just book a scooter and you unlock and start at the same time. So it unlocks the scooter and it starts the scooter right away. And basically from just the tap of a button you can just go. And you have 2 helmets in the top case, and you just start.
So now it's turned on.
It's turned on, yeah.
Yeah? Can I give a ride?
you can, of course.
I'm gonna go.
Once it's turned on, now you can also pause the ride. So imagine, Gustavo, you are having a meeting with some friends. It's going to last 20 minutes, and you want to keep your scooter. Well, you can do it now. You can just pause your ride. I hope it works. And it actually just stops the scooter and locks the scooter again, and it keeps the scooter for you, right? So you just go and have a cafe or stuff, and then come back and unlock again the scooter.
That's
and
awesome.
up you go. You just go, continue your journey, and once you stop, once you are arriving at the destination, you just finish your ride. Oh, sorry. Again, same process. There you go. Finish. Give us a nice stars, and that's it. Then the scooter is available again for someone else.
That's awesome.
So we reworked a bit the whole process, make it even easier for you as a rider just to ride and not focus on the app and on the steps, and added this pause feature that was really asked by a lot of people, and also the availability to see the level of the battery of the scooter, right?
That's great. Yeah. So it's the first time you're showing this new version to the public, right? Do you have beta testers as well? Like, will you roll out the versions gradually, or you guys like just have a close group of people using it and then?
Right now it's still really close. I wish to do more of beta testing and workshops and with the riders, but yeah, we didn't really have time on that. I hope to change that in my product process. But all those feedbacks are gathered through the chat with the people. Also people leaving us emails and saying what I need and what would be cool. So we try to implement this. Right? So we hope this app will help you also in better riding. So.
Yeah. And talking about the app, before I jump to some questions in the audience, because we are coding bootcamp, we want to know who is the technical team, and in the sense of what type of professionals are there. Do you have like a data scientist for crunching the numbers you have? Do you have someone focused on the map thing, GPS, the IoT? Like, what's the composition of your technical team, developers, and also in the engineering part?
We are right now three people. My brother, which is in charge of the software, making it work, database, coding the interface, coding the backend. Thomas, which is the brother of Ben, is in charge more of all the IoT, so connectivity of the scooters, so the hardware, but also the first layer of software, making the scooters connect to our servers, getting response and everything. And on my side, more on the product, so wireframing, designing, and coding the front end, right?
So you also coding?
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to code before, but yeah, I learned because of our resource constraint. We had to, but right now we are recruiting engineers to come into the team.
Yeah, and being yourself like someone with a business background who found a startup and now actually even code yourself, what do you think are let's say the advantages of that? I mean, being someone that has this hybrid or this both capabilities of, you know, tech, very solid tech skills combined with the business skills and entrepreneurial mindset. What do you think this type of, the combination of these elements bring to you as a professional and also as a person? Do you see like a clear, now that you code, do you see like a big advantage on that for you?
I think for me the biggest advantage is to be able to understand developers, designers, and these kind of things. Because that's at the end that what matters, because you work in a team and you create value, you create products. If you have a product manager or product head that doesn't understand any line of code, how you structure a database, or maybe don't understand but don't have interest in that, I think it's difficult. And I think if you want to be involved in product, you need to learn both sides, so engineering but also design, and have a deep interest in that, and deep passion. Otherwise it's difficult. So it brings me actually the skills to understand the different people.
And also create this strong bond between the members of the team, right? Because you basically speak the same language and you don't feel segregated, no? Like one part that only overlooks the business side, the other one on the... Yeah. Basically bring more, as a group I think you can be stronger.
I think it's I think it's one of the value, but also for on my side we didn't have that much other choice than me learning things, but I really loved it. So for me it's really it's my passion to just create things, and if I can bring these skills in, it's
the skill set of someone that has many ideas to actually execute them. It comes very handy, right? Yeah. Do you guys have questions? Any, yeah? I'm gonna go with the mic and then...
I'm actually from the States, so if these questions don't make sense, I'm sorry. So, I've used Scoot in San Francisco, and I was wondering if you need insurance and a driver's license here for that.
You need a driving license, yeah.
Okay.
It's a normal car driving license.
Okay.
No motorbike or
Okay.
anything
In the
else.
States, you don't need a driver's license. You just need a clean driving record. And the insurance is health insurance for...
It's third-party insurance, right?
Okay.
So if you have any problem with the scooter while you're riding, it's covered, yeah.
Okay.
Because I mean, one ride doesn't cost. Sorry, one like average ride doesn't cost a lot. It's like for me, it's very affordable as far as I know. So how do you manage to cover with the insurance cover and to get profits? Because you know, if the person has some accident or whatever, it could be very costly. So I suppose the insurance to cover every person, you don't even check if, I don't know, if he's drunk or whatever, you know. So it could be really costly for his health, for his damages, and for damages he could cause. So isn't it very expensive, and how do you manage to get profits with that?
Well, thank God we didn't have that many accidents.
Yeah, sure,
So,
and I
no, but
don't-
that's, I just want to,
Just a
because we
question.
do a lot of trips, right? So
Sure.
this model, you do a lot of trips because our scooters are used way more than a personal scooter. And that's the tricky part for insurance companies, because obviously they don't want people to actually drive the scooters, right? They want to have it parked there, and it's safer. So it's difficult for us also to be able to show the value for insurance companies. They usually are really afraid and risk adverse, but we show them that actually in our model, even though we have a lot of thousands of different profiles, we just check the identity. We don't check if you are drunk, if you don't have any, you know, if you are, I don't know, if you had accidents in the past. We don't have a profile, right? However, we just show with the metrics, with the data, that we don't have that much incidents, and everything is going all right, right? So, and this is like showing insurances that, okay, the model of free floating might be interesting, and we want to work with you. However, it takes a lot of time. As a small company like us, it's really a tricky part to be able to contact them and be in negotiation. But it's going to change in the future.
So that's actually the answer, that you managed to discuss like good conditions and prices with insurance.
Well, we hope to have better conditions soon.
Yeah, I mean,
but we
showing that everything's okay. Okay, great.
Yeah, by just
so
gathering.
it's not so costly as we could imagine.
No.
Great. And I had another one
just
question.
if you are drunk, it's your responsibility. It's not our responsibility, you know. So you need.
Yeah, I know. That was just, you know, just to say that you never know what's going to happen. And yeah, another one question. Like, it looks so high tech. I'm not a user. I have my own scooter because I really need it every minute of my life.
Okay.
But yeah, it looks so high tech, and all this technology, you know, like, blocking or starting with your app. I mean, it's like kind of, you know, so high tech. So was it very costly as investment from the beginning, or it's not that costly as it could appear?
We built everything from ourselves, so costly in terms of time.
You developed everything.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. We basically buy. It's a box with a. It's a box that is featured with a lot of stuff inside, a SIM card, a GSM, antenna as well, and we just kind of plugged it and connected to
one year of development or more?
Yeah, so no, it took us 2 months basically to launch, right? So from zero to launch. And then from there we improved the whole system, right? So improving the tech inside the scooter, but also in the whole back office, right? So you don't see it, you see an app, but we have a back office that we
I
help
imagine.
we help you in the
Developers,
rights.
internal or external ones?
Developers or the people I just told you about. So
Yeah, yeah.
my brother, the brother of Ben.
Only those people. Oh my God! And how many you are today in your company?
We are 6
And that's-
in the
that's
founding
all.
team, but 13 in total.
13.
13 in total, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
I just want to know how the story continues, no? Because you said that you have at the beginning 5 or 3 scooters, and now you have maybe, I don't know how many, but how do you get to this point today? And how do you think it's going to move forward in the next year, for example?
So we started with 3 in February last year, 3 scooters that were self-funded. We saw a big demand, a lot of people. So there were up to 150 people sharing 3 scooters. So it was a lot. And just that gave us the insights that we need more, so more scooters because the demand is too high. We bought 18 more scooters, so we climbed to 21 scooters. And that was like from in May last year. We raised the first funding round in August last year. It helped us again to increase the fleet and build also the team, the operations. And now at the end of this year, we'll have 210 in Barcelona, 210 scooters. And the next year, for us, it's about expansion in new cities. The first one will be in Madrid, early next year, and other cities that are going to follow. So strategically, for us, it's more about how to scale from now. So in terms of having scooters that are reliable and quick on the street, but also ramping the number of people using it, making the service even better, and also building teams in the different cities. So it's really about scaling quick to make it work. Yeah.
Okay, we had another question here. Yeah.
Yeah, this question is a little deep, and I'm going to put you on the spot, but I'm going to do it anyway. It's not my question. It's called the 3 Truths, and it's so imagine it's your last day from now. You've created in all the cities there are Yugo scooters. You've done everything you wanted to do, but it's your last day, and you get but everything, all the scooters has been erased. So there's nothing left of everything you've ever created or done. But the only thing you get is a pen and a piece of paper to write down the 3 things you know to be true about your life and all the lessons you've learned. What would you write down? You can think about it for a moment. Yeah, it is on the spot. Sorry.
I will email you.
First of all, a big applause to this question. It's better than any question I did.
You want 3 words or you want 3? Whatever. I think one of the biggest feeling or the greatest feeling for us as a team is to see scooters, Yugo scooters, just passing by, right? Just to see the people that are actually using what you created. So that day, I think I will remember this feeling of having other people than just the friends and family using a product that you just created, and that's it, I think.
Once you were like an entrepreneur or all your failures, like lessons about life. So for example, like what you just said, don't do it for yourself, do it for others. Something like a life lesson.
Yeah, well, just don't, if you, I think one of the things is don't have expectation of what you create. I heard a lot of people saying, I want to create my company, but first don't think about creating a company, just create something that has value for people. A company is just actually right now, what we are building is it's structuring a team, getting revenues, growing, right? So at the beginning, it's not about building a company. It's building something people want, and not thinking about making money or like being rich or whatever, because this doesn't make sense. Not at all. You don't have expectation. if you want to start.
Okay, we have a question here.
Thank you very much. This is going to be less altruistic question, okay? So no, don't worry. I am a true fan of you guys. Since the beginning, I think I spent like something between 30 and 50 euros a month. So I'm a true early user. So I'm going to be very bold here, okay? I use Yugo and I use Ecoltra. They both have the benefits and everything. Of course, I prefer Yugo. Because when you get into an Ecoltra, you have the sensation of being like a delivery guy, you know. Whereas with Yugo, you feel like you just came out of a Woody Allen movie, you know. So that said, where does the design come from, you know? Whether you got the vintage and stylish look, is there a story behind it?
You mean the design of the scooter or the design of the whole
No, the design
brand?
of the scooter I'm speaking about.
So it's a German company. Well, you see it's kind of a Vespa. Is it what you?
Yeah, correct. I'm going into that way.
Okay,
yeah.
okay. It's a kind of a Vespa distributed or built by a German company, and they produce it in China. So the whole thing that you see from the outside is produced from China. But the heart of the scooter, which is the battery pack and the controller, they are built in Europe, in Holland, and that's basically.
Okay, that's cool. And just one last thing. And who was the guy that said, hey, maybe we have to have like vintage scooters instead of just modern ones?
I think it's the whole team, right? It's because it suits our values, what we want to be creating. As I said to Gustavo, we don't want to be the delivery guy. We want to be the cool guys. Not the cool guys, but
Thank
you. You want to write something. So.
Okay, hi, I'm French, and I'm actually wondering why you haven't decided to create this company in France, for example, in Paris or in Marseille market, maybe you better know, or even in Grenoble because you say you were studying in Grenoble. And the more practical question, very often I'm out of battery with my phone, and once it happened to me that my phone went off at the moment I was supposed to check out and I didn't have the chance to connect my phone, so I just want to know why, because I use actually Cooltray as well, and I know I can't do that with Cooltray. So why have you have not decided actually to include this system in your scooter?
The first question, as I told Gustavo, Barcelona is the second city in terms of density of scooters in Europe, after Rome. So it's the perfect kind of space to start a business like ours, because you have a lot of the culture of scooters. Everyone here has a scooter, basically, and that's the perfect opportunity for us. Secondly, it's a great place in terms of space, because you can park wherever you want, basically, and they have specific spots at every corners. So that the two reasons. The third is basically the weather. Here we can ride from 1st of January to 31st of December. You have 10 days of rain, and that's it. So the three combines make it actually the best spot to start a company. In France, maybe we are going to go there someday. We hope. But yeah, Barcelona was the first choice. Secondly, if your phone dies, we had actually the three first scooters. They had like a USB port, like Cooltra. However, we saw that it was not actually really used by most of the people. And secondly, it's at that time it was a lot of work in putting this together. So we actually didn't continue on this. However, we have a lot of writers that mention this question. Right now, we don't have the solution. We hope to be able to build something soon. So the only advice I can tell you is just try not to take a scooter if your phone dies. Yeah, but we know it's an issue, and we hope to find something cool.
Hello.
Hello.
I have two questions actually regarding the beginning of the YUGO adventure. You said that at the beginning you were bringing the scooter thanks to the WhatsApp group and everything. How do you manage as an entrepreneur and a small company? You are not that much in the company, not that many, sorry, in the company, to do the job, bringing the scooter to everywhere, whatever, and in parallel improve and work and the app and website and in the company itself. And then, once this period has passed, when you have a solution, how do you, what's your mindset when you say, okay, I have this solution, but I don't want to get too comfortable in this and always improve? How do you do that every day? How do you, especially at the beginning?
It's a good question. I think for us in our story, for the first part of your question, we spent probably what 1 year, no, maybe six months, 7 days a week working, right? So almost no pause. And we were 4 full time in Barcelona, and we had 3 scooters and 1 scooter aside just for the team, and we were just doing rounds, right? So Tim and I in the morning, Luc and Ben in the afternoon with the 3 batteries in the scooter, and that's it. So while 2 guys were making the service work, the 2 other guys were either responding to customer inquiries or having time to just, trying to improve the company where we want to be, what we want to build and everything. But if you don't have this, I mean, I think we were a bit extreme because we really never had any pause or any break. But if you don't have this passion or this willingness to do something, I think your project cannot last long, right? And we knew it from the beginning. And I think this also helped us in building the spirit of our service, of our product, is always be there, friendly, always be there, right? And this is, I think it's important. The second part of the question, I don't remember.
The second part is when you bring a solution when you don't get too comfortable on it.
Easy answer is that when you have riders writing to you and saying, I would like to have, this feature, I would like to have, I had these kind of problems in the app, you always get feedback, always. And this helps you in just writing down those ideas and trying to find solution quick for that. So that's basically how I think we keep on being motivated every day, trying to respond to those feedback. And when you see people using your service, is also a good motivation, I think.
Who else had questions here? This side? Okay, let's take one there, and then I go there, Madiha.
Well, first of all, congratulations. I'm a big fan. I'm already using YUGO. I share the feeling of the other guy, the delivery feeling guy, with eCultra. And I always wonder, what are you doing about what I think, at least for me, it's a reality that I want to ride at YUGO, but I always find faster eCultra. That's my first question. And the second question would be, it's related to that. What's the rate of adoption of YUGO versus eCultra in terms of the pie that you're having right now, being a new category, a new business? So which one is getting more adoption right now, and how do you live together?
Adoption, you mean in terms of riders, or you mean in terms of?
Yeah, riders, app download.
So the second question, well, eCultra is another league for us, right? So they have huge fundings we don't have. They have way more users than we have, way more downloads than we have. But yeah, well, that's part of the game. We are focused on building a product that people love, and then we are adding more and more availability of scooters. So yeah, just well, yeah, Equultra is in terms of market share a bit higher, right? Of course, because they have more and more availability. But for us, as I mentioned, Gustavo, it has kind of never been a problem because we are focused on the product, on the experience you have, and we want people to have the YUGO as a first option and not Equultra, and keeping on adding new scooters, right? So was it a good? Yeah, yeah.
That's what I.
We know it's an issue, and yeah, it has always been like this because we started really small and we never wanted to have like 150 because we are focused on our business and.
There is an interesting side effect of this that happens, is that because if in case people get a better experience with YUGO, and when they search for YUGO and YUGO is not there, you start to create like a very desirable product, right? The scarcity can make your brand become more exclusive, even if you don't have the intention to. Of course, availability is key, but you create a strong bond with your customers as well. It might be something that happened as a side effect, even if it's not intended.
I think that the side effect that you're mentioning, that's mostly for a product that you don't want to use like right now. So if there's scarcity in that kind of products, you have even a bigger desire for it because you want to be on a waiting list for that. But I think for something you want to use right now, that like if it's not available, that it's not a very good thing.
No, you are totally right, and we know that's.
Yeah, I think I shared something that happens in a personal level, which is when I see that there is a YUGO close, I kind of yes, okay, you know, like I have this, at least in my case. Yeah, it's like okay, yeah, there is a YUGO. You know?
Hi, well, first, thank you very much for the experience sharing, because it's both very, very helpful and very inspiring for me, and I think for all of us. I have two questions. The first one is regarding the product development, and the second one is regarding the organization. So regarding the product development, you mentioned that at the beginning you had just the 3 scooters, there was the WhatsApp, and it was very helpful to create this bond and really to learn from the feedback of the clients, of the customers. And I guess that it was a lot of feedback from the family and people that you do know mostly. Now with a bigger market share or marketplace, you do have, I guess, the big, like, what is your source of feedback? Is it like just the feedback that you get from the clients, okay, give you feedback? And how do you, like in data-drivenly apply it to improve your product? So that's the question about the product development. And then the second question is regarding the organization. You mentioned that there was you who do the product management, let's say, and then there was some people, 3 people, I think, who were doing the development. How exactly do you organize yourself? I know that at the beginning it was mostly unorganized brainstorming. Today, how do you organize yourself exactly? How do you allocate like the responsibility, etc.? Mostly when there are different teams that are developed now.
Yeah, good questions. So the first question, sorry, I don't remember the first question.
The first question was regarding the product development and how you take into account the feedback. And
sorry for that.
Don't worry.
Basically the first source of feedback for us is mainly the chat, because we have an in-app chat, right? So people just chat with us when they have a problem, or even when they don't have a problem, they chat with us. So it's really cool because for us it started with WhatsApp, right? So WhatsApp, we had the messages at midnight from people saying, I want to have a scooter tomorrow at 9. And it creates, the chat experience creates a really close relationship. We have a lot of friends now that are early adopters, and basically the chat is the first source of feedback. So people just on the go saying they have problems with this, or a way of improving this. From that, we basically take now a more structured approach, because until now it was not really structured because of the first tiny resources we had to build the whole thing. But now we are trying to have a structural approach in terms of product development in sprint, right? So we do 2 weeks of sprint. And it all starts with what we call a user story. User story is when a customer, or it can be a writer, but it can be also someone in the team, right? So customer support, marketing, they phrase a need that they have, a problem that they have. It's really phrased, like the same structure. And from that, we define a solution in a sprint, right? So it may be something that has to do with the software that we are building. Maybe it has to do something with an external way of finding a solution. It can be I don't have an example, but it can be another software that you can use that will solve the problem right now. And if it's something that we need to integrate in our system or in our product, we define wireframes, we define the design, and then bring it into coding development. So right now we are really trying to, as I told you, to be a company and trying to structure, have processes, and trying to be better organized. So that's how we do in terms of product.
And how do you choose the ideas or the opportunities that you do develop and you don't develop? Is it is there really an investment calculated, like an ROI, etc.?
No. Right now, no. It's not really data in terms of what's the outcome. We really more focus on the value that this solution will bring for the team members, but also for the riders. But still, it's being structured. So it depends on the priorities for our company. It depends on the priorities for the customer support or the brand management, and trying to prioritize those needs in terms of values that it brings to the people.
So the logic and the priority here is still to increase the market share before going to the stage in which you're going to really think in profit-wise, really, as a focus.
Right now, we are already profitable.
Yeah, I mean, what I mean is that the priority here is more to increase the market share and have new customers or satisfied customers, more than just increasing the profitability with a stable market share.
Yeah. Yeah, so in terms of our team, we have different teams. So marketing, which involves the whole brand management, the whole acquisition, and also the whole customer success, right? So what we call is customer success is from the moment you are an active user until the moment you are riding a scooter, so real time, and the after riding, right? So those experiences are different. And we are covering this into a kind of a marketing umbrella. The second is product. So product, it involves designing, getting user stories from the whole team, from the writers, defining the product, and developing the product. Then you have the software, which is, in this case, developing as well, but also maintaining scalability. So how can we create an infrastructure that is scalable across countries, across cities, with way more people, with way more scooters to manage. Then you have what we call a tech lab, where it's more about hardware. So what can we improve on the scooter? What are the other things that will help operations? So it can be charging hubs, it can be any other projects that will help in terms of our company, and that involve creating products, IoT products. And then you have operation, which is a big part for us. Why? Operation involves more the fleet management. So in real time, seeing what happens with all your scooters in the city. So we have a map, we can act on the scooters, we can have data. We managing also all the what we call Power Ranger. So Power Ranger are for us swappers. So the people that are just changing batteries, right? So they are going around the city 24 hours and just swapping batteries. So that's part of the operation. And we also have like maintenance. So we are building a tire, a garage to maintain the current fleet. So we have mechanics to work. We have to manage the stocks of all the pieces. We have to prepare new scooters to put them on the street. Then we have the what we call Space Ranger, which is also in operation. Space Rangers are basically students that are going around the city and just replacing, not replacing, but moving scooters in hot areas or bringing scooters that need maintenance into the tire. And then now we are also building a kind of data scientist department, where the key role will be to understand the data we are getting, creating models also to bring value to the team. Really. It's intense.
You have a question? We have another question here.
Hi, my name is Omri, and I'm doing UX design, and I mainly base my decisions about data and not just about feedback. And you mentioned some of the things that you measure, but I wanted to know if there are things that you measure from the user side perspective, and do you measure yourself about it? For example, do you measure and try to optimize the distance that the user has to walk for a scooter, or how many times you need to open the web page until he make a decision to start a scooter?
Right now, that's the data. We have some data about that, but we don't optimize for the moment because that's what I'm saying. We are trying to get more resources and work on that. But it's going to be a big challenge for us because, of course, the challenge is this availability of scooters. So when, as a user, you connect, you expect a solution to get you a scooter, right? So it can be a scooter available, or it can be a scooter available in the next 15 minutes, it can be available in 20 minutes, these kind of things. So what do you do in the product to give this power to the user, right? To access the service. It's in the plan, in the making. Right now you have also a feature which is called radar. When there's no scooter around, you just press it and we send you a notification when a scooter is dropped in your area. So this kind of solutions or features can help you in your expectation of the service, right? So you know, maybe in 15 minutes or 20 minutes, I might be able to take a scooter, right? So yeah, all those ideas need to be implemented in terms of solution for the user. I hope it's an answer. Okay.
I'm going to take 2 questions more. There are many questions, but there are some also beers waiting for you, so let's see how we go. Our friend here has a question.
Yeah, so first of all, I'd like to congratulate you for the product, which is amazing. I've got three different questions. The first one is regarding the legislation part. So when you came, did you came to Barcelona before, or with the idea already to make the product?
No, yes, basically. We launched the webpage, as I told Gustavo. We launched the webpage in September 2015, and my 2 co-founders, they came here in 2000, so in the same month.
Okay, so did you had some challenges regarding the legislation, or it wasn't something really huge? a huge problem.
In terms of legislation, what do you mean with?
Because you from another country, so when you came here to Barcelona to open the company, start the company, did you have some challenges, some barriers about this?
Well, few yes. You have all this administrative work to be done. However, you can start a business tomorrow if you want with this autonomous status right here. That's basically how we started, right? So we started not as a legislated company. We started as an autonomo that helped us in launching the service. So basically, you can launch a company without like having a company created.
Okay.
You can launch by being autonomous. Basically, yeah. So, yeah, there are a few barriers, of course, but it's manageable. You can do it.
Okay, so now two more practical questions regarding the new changes in the new version of the app. When you will post the scooter, is the rate will remain the same or will be a bit lower?
You mean in terms of pricing?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So yeah, in terms of pricing, it's going to be lower, of course. So the standard price for riding is 22 cents per minute, and for pause, it's going to be 14 cents. Yeah, 14 cents. So it's going to be lower than riding.
Okay, all right. So last question is also a practical question. It's regarding using the scooters, because I know a lot of people that come to Barcelona for holidays. They want to use the scooter, but they don't know really well the city. So did you thought about the fact to have, I don't know, something to hold the phone so the people can use the GPS or something like this that will avoid people to take out their phone or anything like this?
Sure. As the other features, which is like recharging your phone, the GPS phone is important. We are sourcing right now also a solution to do that, because we launched with the 3 scooters. We basically launched with a phone holder, but it was unstable. It was really not the experience you were expecting. So we are still looking for the best solution to provide this, because it's tricky. It needs to be fixed, not moving, not removable because of robbery. So it's not an easy thing, and you need to find the good product. But yeah, for answering your questions, it's something people are asking, and we are trying to find a solution for that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, let's take 2 more questions, and please make just 1 question. You have 1 question. Let me go there, and then I go here, and then.
Hi. My question is, you say the next thing that you would like to do is expand your fleet, and that the business is generating money, but have you prepared that someone might come in and offer to finance, and do you keep a running price on what might be, rather than an opportunity, a threat of how much you might be, someone might offer to sell up? Have you put a price on these things, as in what you would offer to an investor and how much you would sell for?
So the question is how much? No,
yeah, like,
the question is just.
If someone came along and offered you money, would you need to get back to them, or do you have a price on what you might offer to someone as an investor? Are you prepared for investors walking up to you, or?
But you mean as to sell the company or to come in?
Two different questions, really. To be clear. So just one then. Are you prepared for investors offering you money?
Yeah, for sure. We did 2 rounds already, and now we are doing a second, third round to prepare expansion. So yeah, we are prepared. Is it? I don't know if it's or was it?
they basically wouldn't know what to do if someone offered them money, because they would have to get together with everybody who's involved in the company, and as they own it, you would need to offer something to investors, and they're just not really, they haven't prepared for it and don't know what they would offer someone who offered to invest, while they would be grateful of the money to.
Right now, yeah, we are in this process of raising funds for expansion, so we talk to investors to come into the company.
Okay, I will take a last question, but of course we're going to have time to have beers, and if you can get 2 minutes of attention of him, you can continue the talk. So a final question.
Hello, Yann. My name is Peter, and I think I fucked up your GPS system quite frequently in Barcelona. As me and my wife live in Barcelona and Vienna.
It's a nightmare for us in Barcelona.
I know. So I'm a serial entrepreneur and an investor as well. I was 100 times flat broke in my life, and I had phases where I had a little bit of money. So I have a very specific question. I started companies from zero, with zero money, up to quite a bit of employees, let's call it that way. And the nicest way of a company for me is until 15, 20 people. Over 20 people, when it reaches 30, 40, 50 people, the middle management starts, and this is where the problems start a little bit, and over 100 and 200 is a completely different ballgame. When you now try to expand to Madrid and other cities, you cannot run it anymore as you used to run it now. Yeah? And your OPEX costs will increase, not linear, they will increase exponentially. With competitors, for example, like Car2Go, which is very, very strong, for example, in Vienna, which basically wiped out a lot of their competitors because they offer cars, smarts, and also Mercedes cars, now for 21 cents. And of course, with the backing of Mercedes-Benz, it's impossible, basically, to compete. How you deal with getting your company's employees up to a number where you can run various cities and still be somehow able to compete with the giants?
Actually, this phase of building a company up to 200, I haven't really thought about it, so I don't know. Right now, I saw a lot about starting from scratch. Now it's a new phase where I learn a lot. It's about structuring a business, opening new cities, which is totally new and totally amazing. So I don't have expectation. I don't know. It's going to be the process of learning. To competing with other companies, well, we are on a really competitive market already, with big players in Paris, in Berlin. Here in Barcelona, we were born with a big player, so it's a threat of course, but we always found solutions because of the unique value proposition we have, and I think we will stick to this and really focus on that, because it's a way to be different and to create value. So that's my response to you.
Okay, very nice. I would like to ask a final question. What is the lessons learned, something that you can advise to people who are starting, people who are thinking about jumping to the entrepreneurial journey? What's your, let's say, takeaway from this journey so far that you can share?
Don't expect to be successful in 1 year. It's a journey that takes a long time, just because of you cannot learn about entrepreneurship. You have to do it. You cannot learn it at school. You can just learn a bit of everything that will help you in building a product. But this takes time, so don't have expectation of being successful in 1 year, because those stories, I think, are really random, and there are not so many entrepreneurs that are successful in such a short time. And also, I think if you have ideas, just do it now. Don't wait for anything. Just start tomorrow or next week.
Execution is everything.
Execution is everything, yeah.
Very good. So thank you very much, Yann. It was great.
Thank you very much.